Hello and welcome to the Texas Tech 2025 National Signing Day Special. Robert Giovanetti alongside Coach Joe McGuire. Coach, look great.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
I can't believe you didn't wear a sports coat. I'm feeling good, man. I mean, what a day. This is one of my favorite days of the year.
Yeah, the first time, we did one of these, your first class, and you talked about, hey, here's what our goals are going to be. Here's what our objectives are going to be. And we see it kind of play out every year, right? You feel the needs. You heavily recruit in Texas, and you got to feel good about where you are.
Yeah, really excited about this class. You know, it's a smaller class and than our first, especially our last two. That's just because we've signed such big numbers of high school kids the last 2 years, and so just roster numbers. And we really went hard again, of course, for speed, but we went hard in the offensive line. You know, it's a really strong group of offensive linemen.
We'll get to each one. 17, maybe.
Yeah, they call it flip season or flip day, and so there's a really big possibility that we have one later this afternoon.
And you've been busy in other areas. We'll talk about that at the end of the show as well. But let's get to this year's class. We'll start with quarterback Lloyd Jones III.
Yeah, excited, man. You know, he's a big guy. He's got a big arm, very athletic. He's won a state championship in basketball. You know, they won the 7-on-7 tournament in football. And, you know, he's a guy that we identified during camp. You know, he came and saw us and you know, really made all the throws and has such great leadership. And so it's a great day to have another QB1 of this class. And he really helped with this class, man. He's got a great presence about him.
His size kind of jumps out.
Yeah, dude, you know, he's really long. Yeah, I mean, and tall. I mean, he's 6'4". He's going to be a big guy. I mean, I think whenever y'all said and done, you know, he's going to be one of those guys that's like 6'4", 225, 230.
All right, you talked about the wide receivers. Let's start with the first one from Lubbock, Texas, Michael Deaver.
Yeah, Michael's another guy that, you know, came to camp this summer, ran really well. You know, he's in the 4.4s and just competed his tail off, caught everything. And what I love about him, too, is he's also a special teams guy. I mean, he's a kickoff returner. I mean, one of the first touchdowns he had this year was a kickoff return against Lovejoy. And you know, and so really special guy, very tough, and he's excited to stay home.
Good deal. Another receiver, Tristan Jensen.
From Stephenville, Texas, and you're talking about speed. I mean, there's another guy. He was a 4.3 on our clock. It was a really cool story, too. Coy Aiken, who is Stephenville, Texas, Cowboy Coy. I asked Coy during camp, go over and tell Tristan he has an offer from Texas Tech. And so his teammate, they were teammates whenever Coy was a senior, and I think Tristan was a sophomore. He was the one that actually offered him the scholarship, and he was like, really? And he was like, yeah, man. And so another guy, like I think last weekend he had 300 yards receiving in the state playoffs.
Hopefully he can be as productive as Coy.
Yeah, no doubt. All
right. Another receiver, Bryson Jones.
Bryson Jones from Lone Star, Frisco Lone Star. They've got a big game this weekend in the playoffs. He reminds me a lot of Caleb Douglas. He's a long outside receiver that can really run, has great ball skills, comes, again, whenever you look at these guys, too, they're coming from big-time programs as far as they're used to winning football games.
And the last receiver, I've known this kid since he was like 4.
Yeah.
Leighton Stone. How about that?
That was a huge deal. It was really cool to be a part of that, to be a part of, you know, this is his dream school. I mean, he's grown up a Red Raider. I mean, his dad is a rock star. I think he actually gets all of his athleticism, though, from his mom.
For sure. She's a great soccer player.
Yeah. And man, I love the kid. But you talking about production, I mean, if you look at his career, he's over 4,000 yards receiving, you know, and it's amazing the things that he does, the body control he has to catch the football. And then the other thing, he is a tough guy. When you see these guys from West Texas, they're different. And, man, he's one of those guys that's really tough.
The thing that sticks out to me is some of the catches he makes. But, again, you wouldn't think he's tough. The way he's built and everything, right. He's a tough kid.
He is. And, you know, I think he's a little bit taller than Coy, but he really does remind me a lot of Coy.
Right. Tight ends, we've had good success with tight ends. How about Preston Harrison?
Preston Harrison from Mineral Wells. And, I mean, some of these guys, you're talking about guys that are really close, you know, to Lubbock. You know, he is a guy I went and visited and met him in person. And I was just his size, his length, and then He's played corner, he's played defensive end, he's played wide receiver, he's played tight end. We think he's going to be a lot like Trey Jackson, a young man that we signed last year from South Oak Cliff. Just really athletic tight end, and will grow, into a big tight end.
We're talking to all these West Texas kids that go all the way out to California to get Sean Robinson.
Well, he was there and then transferred to Cibolo Steel in Texas. So he's a young man. His mom and dad actually are military, so he's been at a couple of different places. But he's a guy that, kind of like Preston, you watch him, he's playing outside linebacker, intercepting balls, you playing outside linebacker, sacking the quarterback. You look over, he's playing running back, and he's playing receiver, he's playing tight end. We think that he'll grow into a really good tight end, but it'll be interesting because there's some debate on who gets him on the offensive side or the defensive side.
That's good when people are fighting out, right?
And his nickname's Rambo. So
wow, okay.
That actually is Clay McGuire's favorite character. He's got a shirt, and he actually wore the shirt whenever he met Sean, so it's really good.
That's fantastic. All right, you talked about the needed offensive line. How about Ren Brown?
So Ren Brown from Nebraska. We got a couple guys from Nebraska. Ren, they just got beat in the state championship. Plays both ways. He actually plays 8-man football, and so it's interesting to watch. But really athletic. He could play tackle or guard. He'll start probably at tackle, but a kid that's really physical and really athletic.
The other one on the offensive line, Elias Gillen.
Big E from South Dakota. A large human. I mean,
310 is what he's listed at.
And it's no fat. Like, he's 310, and you would never imagine that from the standpoint. 6'6". He is a big-time shot putter also. Last year as a junior, he won the state meet, throwing over 60 feet in the shot. So a lot of explosiveness, and then, a really big young man.
Looking forward to this story. Danilo Gubernic.
Yeah, my Italian stallion from Detroit, Michigan.
I was saying, get a guy from Michigan.
Yeah, that's the one thing, we talked about a long time ago and learned from different coaches. Like, big people, you sometimes have to go nationally recruit. And we found him and watched him on film, got on the phone with him. We loved his personality. He's a tough guy. The area that he's from, he has horses, so it's not like he's from Detroit, but kind of the outer. So whenever he came and did his official visit, he was actually here for the West Virginia game. He was like, okay, it looks a little bit different, but there's horses out here, and there's farmland and stuff like that. And so really excited. And he's fun to talk to too, because he does have a heavy accent. His mom actually has a heavier accent, but that Italian Northeast accent.
All right, we need more of the Italians around here.
No doubt.
How about Garen Maley?
So Garen is coming from a big-time program in Omaha, Nebraska. Got to see him play earlier this year. He is another guy that plays offense and defense. We're going to play him on offense. We think he's a tackle, but he played offense and played defensive end, and really, really athletic.
And the final on the offensive line, Patrick McMath.
So Patrick's playing tackle for one of the best programs in the country, Katy, Texas. And if you're an offensive lineman from Katy, Texas, you love football, you've been coached extremely well. He plays tackle, but we're actually, as soon as he'll be a mid-year, and as soon as he gets here, we're going to move him to center. And he's fired up about that. And so I think, he's got such a high football IQ. He's a tough guy. I think that's going to really help us that position in the future.
Interesting. You do have a lot of midterms. I see, looking at when you see who's going to enroll in January, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and that makes a difference. Like, Leighton Stone, he'll be here, in a couple of weeks. And I know it's close to home, but it's also like he's got to get used to everything. But it's going to help us in the spring to see these mid-years, whenever they've come. That's like a Chapman Lewis. He played as a freshman. It's hard to play as a freshman if you're not a mid-year and you don't go through spring football. And these guys are going to be able to have an opportunity to really make an impact.
I think, speaking to the youth of your defense, you only got 5 guys right on defense right now. We'll start on the line, Dylan Singleton.
Dylan Singleton cancels gaps. He is a big young man, very athletic, plays football and basketball. But he's one of those guys that he'll be 300-something pounds in a hurry, and really plays offense and defense. But he's really a defensive tackle, and that's a need that we really felt like he could fill.
Another Texas kid at linebacker, Brock Golis.
Brock is a lot like the linebackers. I mean, the one thing that we recruit at the linebacker position is speed, and he ran at 215 pounds, he ran a 10.7 in the 100 meters. And, he's a guy that has played wildcat quarterback. He's played safety. He's played linebacker. So when you think about guys on our team that have done stuff like that, you're talking about a Jacob Rodriguez and a Ben Roberts, that have played other positions.
In the defensive secondary, Michael Henderson III.
Yeah, Hollywood Henderson, man. He is going to remind everybody of Rabbit.
Okay. It's a good comparison.
Very, very good. High IQ, can really run. And this is kind of a theme with this class. He also plays running back. That's what Rabbit was in high school, and so he's a guy that I think he was close to 800 yards rushing. And last year, in his last year, he was the same, but plays both ways. We're going to play him at safety, and he's really excited. Very physical kid with a high football IQ.
Deontay Lindsey
saved Coach Martin's job. And I mess with Coach Martin. He's from Oklahoma, and he was really, one of the best coaches in the history of Oklahoma. The field's named after him, and I've been telling him, like, all the Oklahoma guys that we get are really good football players. Rabbit was from Oklahoma, and Isaac Smith's from Oklahoma, and said, I need more. And Lindsey fits. He's perfect. He's a long corner that can really run. He's a hurdler. And, we're excited about getting him.
I didn't know Coach Martin had a field name.
Yeah, he did, man. He's big time.
That's outstanding. And the final one we have here, Braylon McDonald.
Yeah, Braylon is from Lancaster, which is a really good program out of South Dallas, right down the street where I coached. He's a guy that can play safety and corner. He actually played some receiver this year and made some big catches for him. And one reason they got in the playoffs is he had an interception in overtime against my old school that put them in a position to get in the playoffs. And so a ball hawk and a really physical football player.
That's the 17 we have now. When people are watching this, there could be an 18.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
really good chance to be a big guy.
Okay.
So
watch our social media, whatever, and we'll announce it on there. Before we get out, we want to talk new defense coordinator Sheil Wood from the University of Houston. Looking at this guy's resume, he's successful wherever he goes.
Man, it's unreal. I mean, if you look at his numbers, and what I would say, and I know we'll put it out whenever we put some graphics out in the numbers, but look at where he was in the year before he got there, and just the dramatic increase in really good defense. I'm really excited. Everywhere he's gone, he's been at Army, he's been at Tulane, he's been at Troy and Houston. Their numbers, rank in the best in the country. And so I'm excited. He's really excited. I think a lot of the selling points is that we're going to compete at the highest level, and we're going to do it. And we've got to play great defense. I mean, we talked about it whenever I got here. We're going to continue to play great offense, but on that side of the ball too, to get us where we want to go, we've got to make a big difference on the defense side of the ball.
How much will he be involved in December around the guys getting ready for the bowl game?
I think the biggest thing for him, and I know he's really interested in doing it, is just getting to know the guys and watch them practice, and see their strengths and weaknesses, things that he's got to work on. And then also the coaches, getting around some of the coaches. We'll have some spots that we have to fill, and I want him to be heavily involved in that, but there's also some guys that are going to be here, and I want him to get to know them.
In the next day or two, we'll have a new offensive coordinator as well, you believe?
I do. I think, if it could be tonight, it could be, probably more officially announcements in the next day or two. But again, they will have the one thing that I will say, I know what kind of offense that we want to play, how we can recruit to Texas Tech. So possibly very similar to what we've been doing.
It's going to be a big December, have a chance to win our fourth consecutive bowl game, third consecutive under you as the head coach. Chance to win 9 games.
Yeah.
Haven't done that since 2009. So a lot to play for here in December.
Yeah, the guys know that. We had a great practice yesterday. We really practiced the young guys. The old guys lifted and ran. But it means a lot to them. I mean, we're really excited to find out. I think we'll find out Sunday what bowl we're going to and our opponent. And the guys are really excited to go attack that. And 9 wins would be absolutely huge. It'd be huge.
Coach, congratulations on this class. Congratulations on a good. I know it's not. I know you want to be playing Saturday.
Yes,
but still, it's a good year. 8 wins and a chance to win 9. That's it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, and we're not satisfied. I know. I will say this. Whenever you're going to watch two teams that we beat this year playing in the Big 12 championship. We know that we were close, but close is not good enough, and so we got to get over that hump.
All right, let's have a good December. Merry Christmas to you and Debbie and the family.
You too. Thank you,
Coach McGuire. That's been it for the Texas Tech 2025 National Signing Day Special.